We respectfully acknowledge the Turrbal and the Yalgara people as the traditional custodians of the land in which this video was filmed.
Hi, I'm Crystal Kinsella. I'm a proud Jawoyn and Wiradjuri woman, a supply diversity expert and published author. Welcome to Meet the Mob, a YouTube series dedicated to showcasing Black excellence in business. I get to interview deadly First Nation business owners from around the country and learn about their why. Today I'm joined by Adam Williams from SupplyAus, who will share with us his why he got into business and why he does what he does. So to kick it off, Adam, tell us a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm a Wongipuran, Wiradjuri and Ngunnawal man, living up here on Quandamooka country at the moment, loving Brisbane sunshine. It's good for old knees and backs. We have our SupplyAus business run out of here in Queensland. Yeah. We have a diverse business sort of set up here. We've just acquired Queensland's oldest coffee roastery, which is a bit of stress and a bit of fun. And other than that, we're loving every part of the changes that occur in our business segment as well.
Yeah. So tell me about your why. Like, you've gone into business, you're growing what you call one of the kind of modern Indigenous businesses. What's getting you out of bed every day?
I think the change and the fact that we can force change upon younger mob that we won't meet. You know, we might see them from afar and maybe not know that we've had any sort of impact on them or any drive on them. And that's one of the big reasons we did what we did after the Murra course and why we set SupplyAus up the way we have. Yeah.
And so to just talk to us about SupplyAus. So you got a lot of things going on within it, and it's not just owned by you, it's a partnership with you and a few players. You want to talk to us a bit more?
So originally after Murra, we set up a business to change the paradigm. That was really our one sentence of what we wanted to do. And then how did we go about that? How did we fund it? How did we want to do it? People probably say we had, 5 of us at that time of different personalities, and this disaster's never going to work. We're going to see a volcano explosion here amongst 5 mob, but we actually work together pretty well. Our differences actually sort of level each other out to some degree. A couple of people have dropped off and doing their own thing, and our business has evolved and it'll evolve again. But I think for us, that the ability to make that change, and we're seeing the change happen now, and we have people reach out to us and say, wow, we never thought we could do this, or we never thought we could do that. And even us internally, we'll even sit back and reflect and say, well, 5 years ago, I never thought we'd say we have coffee ranged nationally in Woolworths, and we're about to have a couple more. So, it's been a big cycle for us.
So I want to talk about the coffee, because I think that's really, and you're about to have a big launch in a moment. But let's just go back a little bit, because I still remember that moment hearing about the touchdown of this plane, getting all these tons of hand sanitizer into Australia, right in the middle of a pandemic when no one could, and you're supplying to Woolworths Group. Like, can you take us back to that moment?
Yeah, that was chaos. Yeah, that was chaos, fibs, lies, bribery, and everything else in between. I don't think.
Don't repeat that at home.
I don't think people would believe us. I think there's nearly a little movie we could make about it. So we came together on the Gold Coast. The sort of pandemic had just sort of hit, and we rented the penthouse at the Hilton on the Gold Coast. We had about $800 between us to cover a $5,000 a week room. So we had one immediate problem: how were we going to check out? We were probably going to dump that on Sean and run, really. And when we sat in there, we had, but prior to Christmas, we'd sort of bought some hand sanitizer, and we thought that there might have been an easy way to get it out, and it might have been a bit of an intro to some medical products. And then chaos just occurred. People found out we had it. Calls started happening. Yeah. We covered all the windows in this thing with whiteboard markers that we went and pinched from the desk, and shops were closed, and it was like a tsunami of opportunities and chaos. And I think for an Indigenous business segment in a short amount of time, it took away the trust that most corporates have in dealing with Indigenous business. They don't give us that trust aspect like they would with a standard corporate they've traded with. And I think because they had no other option, they had to park that level of doubt and just back us in. And the ones that have done that have reaped the rewards with us being quite loyal to them and delivering all the time and delivering on new innovation. And I think they've seen, and Woolworths has been one of those ones where they've been outwardly there ready to back us in, and they're now sort of reaping the rewards on what we can deliver.
It's a really important thing about that trust, because there's such an unconscious bias that exists with doing business and the risk that's associated with, well, apparent risk that's associated with doing business. But yeah, as you say, they had no choice, and you proved them.
Yes.
And now
we've done it again. We've done it with masks. We've done it with coffee. So we have 100% delivered in full now over 18 months with Woolworths. That during a pandemic with freight and other issues is something that we should be really proud of, between us and our setup on the way through. And I don't know of how many other suppliers can actually say that over the last 18 months.
Definitely. So talk to us about this coffee roastery, because I'm seeing it popping up. Well, obviously getting your coffee into Woolworths stores, but then now going that next step, and we own the whole coffee roastery.
Yep.
Talk to us a little bit about that journey.
Yeah, I think some of that journey comes from jibes, I suppose you would call them, to be really polite, of people online. We get our share of uneducated, borderline, oh well, not borderline, just racist comments really.
Yep.
And that we've only done it with grant money, or this is where our taxpayers' money go, and things like that. So we use that as a bit of a motivating tool, as much as mentally it can sort of get into you. And we thought, well, we have to own the process. We can't just have it contract roasted by somebody else and then we own the brand and we do the work. We actually need to own the process. We need to develop relationships with other Indigenous farmers around the globe. So we buy direct. We import it, we'll clean the green beans, then we'll roast them, we'll pack them, and we'll go. And the opportunity for Aromas, which is Queensland's oldest coffee roastery, sort of came about by us pushing the market, I think, and sort of trying to kick a few doors in, and turning up to ones and saying, oh, this is not a bad place, if we owned it, it'd be better, and trying to see if they were any inkling of selling. And then when it came off, I think it opened the new problem of, how are we going to pay for it now? So we spent a fair bit of time with Westpac in getting the process done right on how we were going to fund a loan of this size. It was by no means a small one. No. And like most of us, we don't have family members with homes and things as security. So Westpac, again, similar to Woolies, had to do something a little different and back us and them, that together we could get it done. And that's sort of where we're at. So.
Well, it's so good, because what you're doing is you're breaking down the doors, because access to capital is another really big issue that a lot of Indigenous businesses face. And so, to take out a sizable loan, which I'm imagining is in this process, and for Westpac to kind of, meet you at a certain point, will hopefully break down the doors for other people following you. I
think so, and we learn a lot about the journey on getting the right speak to make it easier. For the banker as well, and I think if we rewound 3 years, we would be in no hope to get a loan for this stuff as well. So I still don't think it's overcome the fact that somebody has a brilliant idea and a concept. How do they bring it to life? I still think we're in that space where our younger entrepreneurs are potentially sacrificing their dream for somebody else to get it to sort of work, and then losing a bit of control. So I would still like to see a way where there's potentially a little bit more flexibility in how these guys can get started. Yeah.
So you talked at the start about your why and it being really connected to change and pushing through change. And I guess just connecting that in the fact that you guys are a B Corp certified business. You do a lot from a social enterprise perspective. Could you just talk to us a little bit about what are some of the things you're involved in?
Our accountant hates it because every year he tells us we gave away too much of our profit, or all of it most of the time. But I think it comes back to what we wanted to set the business up for and why we wanted to do it. And I think driving that, I think Aboriginal business has become a social enterprise by default. So without knowing, we'll always go and help our community, or we'll help where we can. And I think trying to drive that as just part of our normal business strategy makes it an easy transition. And I think parts like our back to school program, where we send in September, we send it out to the primary schools and we say, how many kids start day one with 0? And then we get them back, and then we go out and fund that. So it was one of the driving reasons we bought an office franchise, so we can actually buy stuff a little cheaper
Yep.
and then do more kits. So and that's become a growing part of our business as well now on how do we do that.
Yeah, great. So what's the future hold for Adam Williams, SupplyAus? Like, what's the legacy for you?
Oh, to play a little bit more golf is my goal. That would be handy.
You thinking about the exit plan already?
Oh no, I'm just thinking about the headspace plan a little bit. So we work a little bit too much. So trying to find a little bit of a balance, and spend a little bit more time with family and a little bit more time for myself is one immediate goal that we've got to try and get right. And then how do we take our Indigenous brands global is our next big step. So how do we get it through to the US, through to Asia? How do we start spreading the message? And then how can we incorporate other Indigenous businesses in our packaging? You know, like a QR code linking our toilet paper on shelf to, so people might have a look and go, wow, there's another Indigenous business, I'll have a look at them. So how do we kind of share the path that we've trodden to make it a little easier for someone else?
That's so great. No, I think that there's a real balance in that, and I think the sky's the limit when it comes to you. Like, from what I've learned and grown to know of you over the years, you want to do something, you go out and make it happen. So I look forward to seeing your products and stuff overseas, but also, you know, finding that balance for yourself. You've got a newborn, and, you know,
yeah, that's fun.
Got to be there for your family as well. So, look, if there's any message that you might have for those that are watching our audience here today, what would you like to share with them?
I think the message for corporates is open your arms up to a bit of trust in an Indigenous business. You'll find you get a really loyal supplier or customer back. And for mob out there, don't be afraid of failing. We all do it. It just leads you down to be better the next time around. And I think that's one of the big parts I need to push across. You know, I've failed in business before as well, so none of this success comes without doing it wrong a couple of times along the journey.
Yep. Get up, just keep going.
Just keep going.
Yeah, well, thanks so much for your time today.
No problems. Thank you.
So there you have it. I hope you've enjoyed the latest episode of Meet the Mob. Make sure you connect with Adam online and share his story with your networks. Until next time.